What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some of the routes from the #1 wide receiver in the country, USC commit Zachariah Branch. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it can teach you a few new things about how to get separation and why he is an elite 5-star wide receiver. But also, fellas, we are going to be traveling out to 15 states this year for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camp. So if you guys are located or close to San Francisco, Orlando, Florida, New Orleans, Louisiana, Charlotte, North Carolina, Dallas, the DMV, St. Louis, Honolulu, Hawaii, Boston, Cleveland, Austin, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Newark, New Jersey, Denver, Colorado, or Los Angeles, California. We are going to be hosting 2-day camps in your city. So if you guys want some more information on that, check out that very first link in the description below. It'll be 2 days of skill work, wide receiver versus DB one-on-ones. So I hope you guys could check that out. Very first link below. Let's get started with this video. So this is going to be a post route here from Zachariah Branch. So this is a textbook rocker step. So he does a really good job selling the corner, using that head and shoulder fake to get separation. I'm going to play this thing one more time. So anytime that I'm doing a route like a post route and it's man coverage, it is super important that I restack so that rocker step can get me separation. So he comes off the line of scrimmage here and he does this kind of like triple step release to the outside. A triple step release is pretty much exactly how it sounds. You step with the left foot, right foot, and then you do a hard cut to the outside to get that DB to jump, get him to move off the platform. Now, when a receiver would want to do something like this is when they're trying to move the DB when he's head up, or maybe he's outside shade. So usually when you get man coverage and a wide receiver's lined up in the slot, right? You can tell he's in the slot because you got the hash mark right here. They'll be a little bit shaded to the outside, right? Now, why would they shade themselves to the outside? Because what do slot wide receivers love to run a lot of? They love to run a lot of corners, love to run a lot of out routes. So that's what we are trying to take away from a defensive side of things with this leverage. So what he does is he attacks that leverage. He sets him up to the outside. He is taught, do not get beat to the outside. So that's where Branch is going to set him up. This is very high-level route running. This is high-level route running IQ. So when we could get him to keep his leverage off the platform, what does that do? That sets up the inside release. Now, if it just because it's a post route doesn't mean that you always have to take an inside release. If this DB was inside shade, you would do the same thing, but with the outside release. If this was a corner route, you would do the exact same thing. You have to take what the DB gives you and not force your route. So when he gets up into this stem of the route, what is he trying to do here? We are trying to restack. We don't want to give this DB any time to recover. So I essentially want to go hip to hip with him. Some people call that getting skinny. So when I come off that release, I don't want to take this really wide angle, then try to restack, because not only will that take too long, but that wide angle allows the DB to recover and get back vertical. So we want to get him off that platform by release, and then I'm going hip to hip with him. It is very important that my pad level stays low and I can explode and get up into this route. So now when he's trailing my back hip, what routes, again, like we said, from the slot is a DB expecting? Outside breaking routes, right? He's expecting the out, the corner, right? So when I get up to the top of the break, that's what I want to sell. And that's what this rocker step does. So what is a rocker step? You see a lot of NFL wide receivers do it. I think the best one at it, or the two best, would be Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson. And essentially when you're running a post route, instead of just breaking off of your left foot, you would go right, then left. So you're trying to sell like you're running that corner route. So that's what we have to make it look like. So Branch, when he takes this first step, is a quick, explosive step in the grass. It's quick, it's sudden, but that step has to push you to the outside to sell. They are two emphasized steps. But when we step to the outside, you have to sell this route with not only your feet, not only by stepping there, but with your upper half. Because any good DB, any disciplined safety in man coverage, any disciplined linebacker in man coverage is going to be watching what? Your hips. So we have to sell with that upper body. If he's watching my hips, I got to throw my hip to the outside. And that's exactly what Branch does. Hips and shoulders committed to the corner. He's actually stepping to the corner. The move is fast, and that is what gets you separation. All we need is this DB to hesitate so I can accelerate out of this break, widen the gap, and win on that post. That is textbook right there. If that ball's out early, that is perfect execution. Let's watch this thing again, full speed one more time. From top to bottom, this is extremely talented. This is high-level route running. He's got a high football IQ, and especially when you tie it into great athleticism and speed, that's why he's the #1 wide receiver in the country. All right, so now this next example here is going to be kind of like this wheel route, or you could think of it like an out and up route. So he does a great job of selling the break. When he breaks to the out, I want you to see how he snaps his head around, his hips and shoulders are committed, and he's running in full stride. When you look at NFL wide receivers, you look at elite guys, they all have this in common when they're doing a double move. You see wide receivers a lot often. when they're running a double move, like let's say it's an out and up, when they break to the out route, they take super choppy steps. Their hips and shoulders don't actually sell the out route, and this DB locks this route up. We have to be a salesman with not only my eyes, but also with my body and my speed. So you actually have to run the first route first. I know that seems like common sense. I know it seems like basic advice, but a lot of guys don't do it. If they're running like a sluggo, a slant and go, you got to actually run this dang slant first. If you're running an out and up, you actually have to run the out route. So the things that will help you get separation on this, to get this DB a little greedy and try to jump it, you have to snap your eyes around. But so many guys, like I said, they'll snap their eyes, but in this case, their left shoulder, their left hip will already be telegraphing upfield. They'll be looking at the quarterback, but their body says otherwise. And again, a disciplined DB should be watching what? My body language and my hips. So I would say your eyes are important, but not as important as your hips and your shoulders. So you see when Branch runs this out route, what does he do? Commits the hips and shoulders and snaps the eyes. That looks like an out route. Now, the last thing is you have to have speed and your stride remain the same. Because if I'm a DB, what DBs are taught to look for on double moves, I've seen videos on this all the time. When they see a guy break to a single move, expect a double move if these steps shorten and his speed changes. Because just quite frankly, it's easier to break when you're not running hard. I mean, wide receivers struggle with it all the time on just basic routes. Like let's say you're running like a 12-yard back to 10 curl. It is very, very easy to run up to 10 yards, slow down, then break at 12. It is very hard to run full speed and then at 12 yards, you snap down and break. So on a double move, it's the same thing. They break to that first route and then they start to slow down because they know they're breaking upfield. That gives the route away. So Branch does a solid job of not slowing down. He breaks right here. He's running full stride, full speed, and then just bam, puts the brakes on. And when you put the brakes on like this, after selling the route, now it's all about just keeping your head down, accelerating, and then getting some separation and finishing with a great catch. That is a great job there by Branch. Great job selling that out and up and showcasing what it takes to run a good double move. This kid's got more than just speed, fellas. I've heard a lot of people say that, oh, he's just fast. He's just a good athlete. Not the case. When you see routes like this, goes to show why he has that 5-star ranking, why he's committed to USC, one top colleges, why he's ranked number 1 in the country by some people. Let's play this thing again, full speed. Great job by Branch bursting outside, actually selling this thing with speed, stride length, and his hips and shoulders. All right, last route we're going to take a look at here. And this is kind of like a slot fade route, I guess you could say. Actually, I would say it's a slot fade. So we're going to play at full speed. So he gives a little tempo change, and then he bursts up and accelerates. So I think, honestly, like when you are a faster wide receiver, this tempo change is something that you have to your tool bag. You have to add this to your tool belt. Because when you can change tempo and get that DB to stop his feet, and you could go from 0 to 100, that's an easy way to get a couple steps on him. So he's running this fade route, and I have a DB who's inside shade off man. So when he's inside shade off man, why is he inside shade? We talked about this in the very first example. Why was that DB outside shade? Because he was expecting the outside route, and he probably had help to the inside. I know it's one-on-ones, but in a real game scenario, because that's ultimately what we're trying to get you prepared for, he would have help to the inside. So that's why he's playing outside shade. And nobody in one-on-ones cuts their split down to run a drag. So he's not really threatened by that. So when I have to do this fade route, and this DB's inside shade, where do you think you want to threaten him? You want to threaten him to the inside, right? Because he's inside shade. He doesn't want you to go inside. So this tempo change is kind of a way to do that. You slow the tempo down. Maybe he starts thinking you're going to run like a crossover move and run a dig. Maybe he thinks you're just going to snap down and run a dig, whatever it is. But that tempo change can change his tempo. He's not going to backpedal full speed or open up and run full speed if we're not running full speed. So when I change my tempo like this, he changes his tempo, and then I can accelerate. Because now it's like, okay, I closed the distance with him. Now it's a foot race. Because the only way that if I just take off and run to the outside right now, he's got an 8-yard head start. If he opens up and turns with me and he gets hands into me, I could lose a lot of space on this route. I could get squeezed to the sideline, and I'm not going to be wide open. But because he closes the space, now that head start that he has is gone. And we changed tempo, so we got his feet to stop, and we have the advantage because we know where we're going. He could accelerate. Now he could burst upfield and go run this fade. Not to mention, maybe he does this tempo change, and then he bursts up on another rep and breaks right off of this and runs an out route. But instead, we got this DB to flip because he's seen the tempo change before. The tempo change is a great thing to add to your bag if you do not take too much time. And this is not taking too much time. I love this change on a fade route because it can get the DB's feet to settle, and then we can accelerate upfield. Let's play this thing again full speed. This tempo change though, fellas, if this DB's a lot faster than you, I probably wouldn't go with it. That's probably not the best move for us. I would say your best bet would be to attack him and stem him inside and try to fake him inside rather than change tempo. But if you're that guy who's got blazing speed or you're just straight up faster than the DB, this is a great way to close that space, get rid of his head start, and win. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Branch, changing tempo, putting that head down, and accelerating upfield to win on that fade ball. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you guys are local to one of the 15 states that we are traveling out to, we are coming to you 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. Over 8 hours of training, fellas, wide receiver and DB one-on-ones, and skill work for about 3.5 hours each day. So check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.